Welcome to Critical Moment, a know-how show of successful living in Thailand and AEC. A good life, wherever one may be, is not just about having good food with a few good friends. It is an integrated living, the art of living. We're about to chat with a gentleman who is probably more Thai than many of us, including me. He and his family live in a classic wooden house in Thailand. He and his family run a beautiful Thai business which bear an international brand name that is recognized or synonymous with collectible items. They are jewelry, home decor, etc. You name it. He has it all. Well, if we were going to talk about the success of the business, we have to talk to this man who is behind the forces of these fine, beautiful pieces, Rolf von Bueren, the owner of Lotus Art de Vivre. Rolf, สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you for joining with me at Critical Moment. They say, Rolf, that at every man's success, there's a woman. Is your case applicable to all these pieces that's surrounding us?
Definitely it is.
Would you tell us more?
Well, my wife started the business.
Kun Helen, the beautiful Helen.
She started the business, and being non-commercial, having no idea about business whatsoever, she did things she liked, not being aware that there was actually no market for them.
Yes.
So she designed, she produced, totally against the existing market ideas or fashions. And that created a reputation of doing extraordinary things. Things that would not worry whether they can be sold or not. Things that would not worry about the market.
But they are eventually sold to lists of clientele.
Well, over years, of course, we gathered, we collected more and more customers. But initially, we lost money. Not very much, but we lost some money.
And what inspired her to do what she did, and what inspired you to support her?
Well, our children had left for Europe and
for schooling.
For schooling, and I wanted her to be busy, to do something. So I convinced her to start designing, start producing, and a friend of ours was looking after the shops in the peninsula at that time, which is the Four Seasons today.
Yes.
And he had one shop left which was offered to me, and I took it.
And still here today?
Still here today, yes.
How many years ago?
Over 30 years.
About 30 years
32,
ago?
33 years ago, yes.
Where the Four Seasons used to be called the Regent Hotel.
Well, before that it was actually called the Peninsula.
The Peninsula, oh dear. Well, so you had the store bearing all these beautiful pieces that is not very market oriented. It's pretty much inspired by the artist herself.
Right.
And you supported her artist because you saw something in the pieces that she had created.
Well, I liked them very much. And I always liked her eye and her touch. And of course, I supported it.
What exactly did you appreciate 30 years ago and your appreciations at the moment?
Well, in what you call in Thai Lakkan, it hasn't changed. But it has changed in a way that we've grown. We are much bigger today.
Yes.
And
internationally known.
Known, yeah. And we need to produce for different market, different tastes. But in principle, it hasn't changed. We would always buy these items ourselves.
Yes, and these items are derived from nature, I suppose, whether they are wood, whether they are shell, or anything that you would use to create these pieces. Where and how do you source this material?
Well, we source all over the world. We source in America, in Japan, in Switzerland, in India, in Indonesia, and only in the sources of many countries can actually fulfill our desire to have different materials every year.
And the raw material that you have been using to source, do you have to rest upon the third party, outside people to source it? Because it's very difficult, you see, to be able to source all this by yourself. You must work with outside people.
Well, partially we do, but most of it we travel, we walk endlessly into shops and see what may be interesting for us.
It's amazing you consistently use the word we. You go together as family?
Sometimes we go as a family, or very often I go alone.
Okay, with a group who would help you discuss on the viability of the pieces.
No, only when we go to buy diamonds and stones. I have an expert along.
Yes.
Who looks at the quality and defines the quality of each stone and gives me her kind of price estimation, while I always buy with the design in mind. I don't buy simply for buying.
So you have the design in mind first, then you look for the material, or vice versa?
No, the other way. When I see a material, I say, this will be that.
This.
Yeah.
I see. So you have to work on your imagination, your creativity, every steps of the way.
Yes.
Unbelievable, because the material that you use would have shape and form of different creatures, different arts. How would you connect all the dots so that this would be a viable piece of art?
Well, the design is in my mind, and it's being given as a concept to the design department, who then work on sketches. We slowly distill down the sketches to something that may be viable, and then we do tri-dimensional samples of that.
Yes.
Because two-dimensional is a bit flat, so we add the third dimension to it, and we work it into a producible design. We make a pre-calculation, we know the cost of it, we know the time it will take, and all these estimations are being compared with the actual real times later on, the real cost, so we always know where we went wrong and where we were right. And
are these pieces nowadays pre-ordered? Or do you have some particular clientele in mind that, oh, I want to make this piece for this person? Or is it from your inner creativity that you want to make this regardless of anybody's wants?
Well, it's a bit of everything. We have a lot of customers who order, who give us raw materials, who give us stones, who give us anything they have and say, can you do something with that? And then we make sketches, designs, we make little samples, and we show it to them. So they see the drawings, but they see also a small sample of how it would really look.
You have a prototype, kind of like building a car.
Yes, it is like that. It's very time consuming. And we always make a point of producing a little bit of what it will look later on as a sample.
Yes.
For the customer to feel confident, yes, that's what I want.
Unbelievable. Now, this goes for any type of handcraft, whether they are jewelry or home decor, is it right?
That's
the
right.
process would be the same.
Process would be more or less the same, yes. But we have also other items where I see something and say that would be suitable for that customer.
Yes, yes.
Or we simply have this material is suitable for this type of design. And then we do the design.
The ratio of the design and your pieces that you have created, are they mostly for jewelry or for the home decor?
Well, it's the same for both. It's the same for both.
So 50-50 now.
Yeah, when you look at the eagle behind you, that was a 7-meter mahogany root, one piece. I said, this will be an eagle.
Yes. You saw the mahogany piece somewhere in the world. Where was that?
That was in Indonesia.
In Indonesia, and you saw it of the eagle.
Yeah.
And there she is right here.
Right.
Unbelievable. So you use the surrounding to create pieces of collectible items that the customers like eventually. But it has to be from your inner creation that would make the pieces the way they are right now.
That's very true, but I mean, we cannot separate Thailand and our business. The Thai way of living, the Thai way of doing flowers. Flowers are used to present as a sign of respect. Whether it's Lord Buddha, or whether it's a guest, or as a gift, whether it is food carvings. The beauty in Thailand is certainly an inspiration in all our designs.
Being a Thai person, I am so touched to find out more. But we'll have to take a break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Critical Moment. Kun Rolf, we were just talking about how beautiful your pieces of arts and creations are. That was so much of the strengths that we talked about. Let's talk about the weaknesses. Let's talk about the threats, because I have seen so many pieces that are of natural derivatives and they're depleting. What is your plan for the future at the moment?
Well, you're right. We live in a world with diminishing resources. And we used to get MOT plates of this size. Today they are half the size.
Yes.
And so on. There are many things that we cannot get anymore, or we are not allowed to buy anymore. We are following the regulations very closely, trying to stay out of trouble and out of problems. But we source all the time new things. Like in Indonesia, they are now widely digging up the roots of trees which they cut 10 years ago.
And that includes the beautiful eagle, which
Exactly.
is from the root of a tree.
Yes, or this basket over here. These are all root materials. They have the advantage that they don't need to be dry. They are dry already. They're very sturdy wood, very good wood. So that is one of the sources. And Thailand has only recently started
Yes.
to dig up roots.
You are not using the trunk of a tree,
No.
but you're using the roots
The
that
roots.
no longer have the trunk.
Yes, yes.
So you're not really demolishing the living natural entity.
No. We're trying not, but sometimes we buy a table made
Like
of
this
wood like
table?
this one. Yes, yes.
This is
But-
huge table. I think it's 10 meters, something long.
It's maybe 6-7 meters, but we make sure that this has been properly cut, that there are documents available, and that we have the proper permits.
Yes.
We're not, and we could also not ship wood without the proper permit. It has
Yes.
to be legally cut. But roots of trees, it's shells, and it's things that are slowly all disappearing, which we cannot get anymore.
Yes, yes. And what do you do? What do you use to replace them? Because, you know, arts are art. Sometimes you cannot really replace shell with plastic.
No, you can't. But for instance, you can replace wood by fiberglass.
That's smart.
So if you get a very complicated and nice piece of wood, you can use it as a mold, and then you can do it in fiberglass. And I wish that many of the things that we sold 20 years ago, we would have done a copy, because they were unique.
Yes.
We have photos today, but it will be problematic. It will be too expensive to go back and do the same thing.
Yes, yes.
So we have learned that we need to create some kind of backup. And whenever we have something that is worthwhile to back up, we do.
So you have to be abreast with the technology of art creation, technology to bring in the natural resources and the so-called man-made material to blend it together.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes.
We also, and technology is an important part in our business, because we used to apply silver very freely.
Yes.
But when the price went up from 8 baht per gram to 40 baht per gram, we couldn't do that anymore. So we had to go to tri-dimensional design, which calculates the weight, lightweight all the time, and still the products are much more expensive than they used to be, simply because of the metal price development. But this is a constant challenge on the market, that somebody bought something 5 years ago at 100 and today it costs 150.
So that's why many of your items have become collectible items.
That's true.
And I have studied that many of your pieces have been through auction houses.
That's right.
For example, I believe the purse that once belonged to an icon at Hollywood, Elizabeth Taylor. It was in the auction house for so much more than it was actually bought for her.
That's right.
Can you tell us about that a little bit? What purse was that?
It was an elephant purse made of silver.
An elephant purse?
Yes, it was an elephant purse that you open up, and it had precious stone decoration. And that elephant purse, I don't know how much it was sold. I'm not really very much involved in price, but I know that it was auctioned for $150,000 or $140,000. It was a huge sum.
Wow, unbelievable. It's amazing how you remember the detail of the design, the ornaments that you put into it, but you don't remember the price.
No.
Who wants to remember the price, right? So that's probably says a lot about what you have and what it's going to be. Now, do you think your clientele changed over the years? You have 30 years of business with your clientele, and they're expanding every year.
Well, we have very dear and loyal clients for many, many years. We love them. They seem to love our products. And we are trying to keep this in a kind of also a family relationship. So recently we went, for instance, to Phukao Krairat.
Yes.
And before you reach that mountain, there is a famous lake, Monsarovar.
Oh dear.
And that's the holiest water for Hindus.
Yes.
So we carried back 25 liters of water.
This spirit, holy water.
It's really holy water, and we are giving it to all the Hindu clients of ours, who, for them, this is the most precious
Blessing.
gift they can
and
get.
You know what? Imagining how you give them is not just put it in a vial, you probably put them nicely in something like...
Well, we give them a 100cc bottle, nicely decorated with a description and with a photo that it was really when I collected it.
See, that is so Lotus Art de Vivre. Clientele and going a step further just to please these good friends of yours. Now, as you expand over 30 years, clientele are no longer just situated in Thailand. You have clientele in the ASEAN community, you have clientele in London, you have clientele everywhere. How do you manage all these people?
Well, we have a very expensive computer system that cost over 30 million baht to control the stock, the production, the finished stock, and also our database and customers. And we do what most brands have to do. We send them 2 or 3 times a year a circular letter, a reminder that we are still there. And whenever, and many of those are friends, old friends. They were friends before we even started the business. So we send them notes. I read a lot, and whenever I find something worthwhile passing on to others, I distribute it to all the friends. Because the most luxurious thing is that somebody pre-reads of all these tons of paper that are today available, and you don't know where to start and where to end.
Yes.
But you pre-read and said, this is an interesting part to read. Oh. That is nice. Why don't you look at that here? So and I get that back from other friends too.
That is a perfect CRM, customer relationship management, isn't it? When you know your customer and know what would be their interest.
Well, it's actually less for customers, but it's very personal. This
Yes.
is a very personal, because I don't read anything that maybe a customer is interested. I read what I'm interested in. And then I hope that somebody else may be also interested.
And
so
how
I
did it
shared
turn
with
out?
him. I shared with them.
Okay, and they appreciate it.
Of course. Of
Yes.
course. I appreciate it very much if somebody sends me something that he pre-read and said, this is an interesting article.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. For the living nowadays, everybody is very much busy with their own time. Just a little things that is extraordinary from other people really means that the friendship is there between you and your clientele.
Right.
Now, you also do more than that. Once every now and then, you would have get together with the clientele in this beautiful heaven, in places, at the hotel, different hotel, just to be with clientele. What is your rationale for that? And the food that you serve, like black truffle, come on, is it worth it?
Well, it's not a question whether it's really worth it. It's really a question of promoting young Thai artists or foreign artists. I think we in Thailand are a little slow in developing the art market. Many of our artist friends were poor like church mice 20, 30 years ago. A few have become incredibly rich, but most of them are still scraping by to make a living.
Yes.
And so promoting Thai artists by introducing them to friends, by sending their paintings around and say, look at that. This is, in our eye, this is a good artist.
What's in it for you?
No, that is not money making. That is trying to help and trying to maybe create something that is long developed in the West. We are going every year to Art Basel, and can't imagine the prices and the goods there. I met an old friend and he said, you should buy this. And it was an iron drum that had been crushed together to that size. And I said, how much is it? He said, oh, it's only $950,000. I said, you fool, if I put that in my garden, it will be collected and put into the trash can.
Oh dear.
Nobody would know that this is $950,000, nor would they think it's 950 baht. They would hope to get maybe 45 baht from
Okay. Well, when we come back, we are going to find out why good piece of art is actually comes from good heart. This is the crucial part of critical moment that we need to find out with Kun Rolf. Kun Rolf, you have been through the business for many years. There must be ups and downs, up and down. Nothing is full of roses, even in art business. What exactly, thinking back, was your critical moment?
Well, first of all, I have a very short memory. It goes back to one day.
Okay.
But all in all, the critical moment is every day. When you look at the design and you need to say, yes, go ahead. And you want to avoid that this is being produced and is being changed halfway, or is being produced and is being discarded, or is being produced and doesn't sell. It's a responsibility, a heavy responsibility.
Yes.
And it also requires human touch with the designer, because he's put all his heart in, and I've already changed him 5 times, and he's getting already a little bit restless, and so I have to kind of cheer him up and say, now look, it's very, very good, but we need to work a little bit on it. Let's see, what do you think we should do here, and so on. It's touch and go, but most people who have been with us for over 20 years. So they do believe that changes at the end lead to a better product.
Yes.
So they are very patient. But there were times, like for instance that wave piece that you see over there, where they are so desperate that they really were close to throwing everything and say, we can't do it anymore.
You cannot throw it away.
No, you cannot. But of course they won't. They won't, but they were getting very tense.
Yes.
They're getting very stressed. And then we have to find a way to bring them back into a cheerful mood and continue, because when the Thais have no fun, nothing happens. They need to have fun. They need to enjoy their work. And that's a very important motivation in Thailand.
Particularly if they are artists.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why we call them Tit. They have a mind of their own.
Right.
And if you discard their design, they take it personally, don't they?
Of course.
You know what? You are a man full of surprises. When I asked you about critical moment, I thought that you would mention something like it is very difficult to bring in the raw material of rare nature. But no, your critical moment rests on people who work for you.
Yes.
So can I safely say that a lot of the credits that going on around here is not just for you, it should be for the people who work for you as well.
Definitely. We work as a team, and everybody is contributing in one way or another.
And Kun Helen, who started all this, what happened to her along the way?
Well, she is still the mother of all mothers. So she's still, whenever we have an undecided question, we go back to her and ask for her opinion.
Yes. So you work with people in order to come up with these heavenly pieces. And the people that you work with have been working with you for over 20 years.
Yeah.
What made them stay?
Well, I think I haven't really thought about it.
Do you give them good money?
Well, I think we pay well, but we are not paying exceedingly well. But we are giving incentive.
Yes.
We're giving incentive based on sales. So if somebody designed something, it was produced and it's sold, they all get down the line some incentive of that sale.
That is
So
a
it's
very...
a variable cost, it's not a fixed cost.
Yes,
Because
yes.
we get subjected to all kind of crises, whether it is airline fuel crisis or tourist crisis or economic crisis or currency crisis.
Yes.
So we try to keep the fixed cost low,
Yes.
and we are aiming, we are not there, and it will take a long time to come there. We're aiming at about 30-40% incentive and 60% fixed income.
Okay.
But this year, most of our workers got 60% more incentive than last year.
Why is that? Why are you giving them a raise?
Because we raised the variable cost, not the fixed cost. We are not increasing salary.
So you're willing to pay to your people more if you make more.
Exactly.
That's right. And how do you keep your fixed costs down then?
Well, we're trying to control it to stay at a certain point, and we work with budgets and with computers and all that.
Yes.
And there are endless meetings which I luckily don't attend anymore, but my sons attend.
Yes.
And they are very meticulous in checking and say, where have we spent more than we budget?
That's beautiful. You are now complaining about the budget, but you have just talked to us about the 30 million that you spend on your programming on your computer and the material of the best in the world. Are you a businessman or an artist?
Well, I think I'm a poor businessman, but not really poor, but I'm, let's say...
You're a rich businessman.
No, also not. Certainly not rich. Certainly
Yes,
not
that's
rich.
because
but
you
I'm
keep-
rich because I have a wonderful life.
You're rich at heart, and the reason that you're not richer is because you keep treating your clientele with all those wonderful events. That's why.
Well, it's also fun. It's also fun. There's nothing better in life actually than to meet friends, drink a glass of wine,
Yes?
and share stories or whatever.
Yes, isn't it? Well, you mentioned about your two sons taking over, and you don't have to run the meeting anymore. How do you delegate that, and how do you inspire your two sons to work with you? So many people at this day cannot convince their children to work in their family business, you know.
Well, it's not easy, but it worked.
Did they try at any time, Kun Si and Kun Nikki, try to deviate from Lotus Art de Vivre? They wanted to do something else, trade stocks or something.
They did, but finally they all came back.
Okay, so you allow them to explore the world.
Well, I certainly encourage them, else they will not appreciate what they have at home.
So that was part of your plan, to have them explore so that they appreciate what they have.
Well, I thought it's not wise to force them to stay, but it would be good to look around and gather experience.
Is that your Western way of raising children, or your nurtured Eastern Asian way?
I think it's very much the Asian way. I just took my grandchildren up to Mount Kairat, which was a shock for them.
Oh,
It was
yes.
probably
How old are your grandchildren?
14 and 15.
Okay, okay.
And they had never been out of the comfort zone.
Yes.
So now they suddenly have to walk without electricity, carry their own stuff, not all of it, but carry something,
Yes.
and sleep in a tent and in high altitude. So that was a life-changing experience. I hope we have planted the seed. It will take some months for them
Yes.
to sink in, and that they understand that the life they have is actually a very good life. And I think the best spot in the world for any child to grow up is Thailand.
Why is that?
no, well, if you see a little baby in the street
Yes.
and foreigners walk by, everybody's face changes and looks at that child. They love children, they admire children, and it's a wonderful place to grow up. Where I grew up as a child, I was not allowed to talk when grown-ups talk. I was not allowed that, I was not allowed that. There were all kinds of restrictions. In Thailand, children have a wonderful life.
So raising children in Thailand, you give them more freedom.
A lot of freedom.
More than the Western way of upbringing.
Much more, much more.
And bringing your grandchildren to Khao Krai Ret. They were not with their parents?
The parents were also along.
Oh, good.
Parents were along and I was along. Helen doesn't walk.
Oh, well, it was high altitude.
Yes.
But it is very tiring though.
It is very tiring.
Yes.
We went up to 5,500 meters. So it's very thin air.
Yes.
Very tiring. And they asked me many times, why are we here?
And what was your answer?
My answer was, there's a story in Thailand of the Kop Nai Kala. So I told them that we are trying to enlarge that little hole of the Kala, so that they see a little bit more of the world. And it's up to them to help enlarge that hole.
Oh, that's beautiful. So you enlarge the little Kop, a little frog, so that their world can be explored through their very own eyes.
Yeah.
That's leading the way.
Well,
That's leading the way. And coming back to leading the way, you allow your children to be explored so that they can appreciate more. Are you doing the same with your grandchildren, Grandpa?
well, this was certainly an alternative to go to a mountain and walk on track and sleep in a tent.
Yeah.
That was an alternative.
So do you feel responsible to raise your grandchildren as well?
Well, I think it's a very important job of mine to teach the grandchildren to ski, to play golf, to eat properly and choose the right food, and to be aware of the surrounding and be curious.
Isn't that the job of their parents?
It's true, but I have more time for them than probably the parents have.
And do they appreciate it, the parents of the children?
The parents certainly appreciate it, but whether the children appreciate it will be later after I'm dead.
No, I think they appreciate every moment. How was the trip at the end? Did they say anything to you about the trip with such high altitude up there?
Not yet.
Not
it
yet?
will come, it will come.
Yeah. I am sure they appreciate every moment of it, especially your children. We'll be right back for the last part. Stay tuned. We're spending the very last part of Critical Moment with Kun Rolf. Kun Rolf is going to advise to us both expat and the Thai to work together. Kun Rolf ka, let's start with expat. How would you advise the expat having to live in Thailand or AEC?
Well, first of all, I've done a lot of mistakes myself, and I ask all those who were at the other end to forgive me for these mistakes. But over the years, of course, I've tried to read about Thai mentality. And there's one little study made by the Defense Department of America, of the United States,
Yes.
on Thai mentality during the Second World War by Ruth Benedict, which gives a very good description.
That's 1945.
Yeah, it's around there.
And can be used now?
It can be used. Of course, a lot of things are fluid now and moving, but it gives a very good idea on structure of Thai society, how children are being raised, and so on and so forth. It's very, very good, and I advise foreigners.
What basically did it say?
Well, it's like the Thai society is not black and white. It's like a cluster of different things. It's like a mosaic. So you need to study each of the little parts of the mosaic and then put it together to understand. It's not, in Germany everything is black and white.
Yes.
In Europe mostly things are black and white. You're either on that side or on the other. You are engaged, you become attached.
Yes.
The ideal of a Thai gentleman is to be detached. The more you are detached, the more you are a gentleman. You don't take sides. You always watch, and you start betting if there is a fight, but then you go home and say, it was a great fight. But you don't get attached.
And that is coincide with our religious belief.
Yes.
Which is to detach oneself if things doesn't work out.
That's right.
Does that give you comfort, having to live in Thailand and change yourself from a very attached person to detach when things call?
It's a very difficult process, but I've worked on it. And I'm still working on it, trying to become more detached. So when we went around Mount Khai Rat, I told everybody and say, let's do one thing. Let's try to reduce our ego during this trip. Whatever ego is, to you, to you, to you, let's try to reduce it. So, Lord Buddha's message is actually reduce the ego.
That's right.
Detach yourself.
But the entire society is about boosting the ego, about gaining the phases. It must be difficult to do the counteraction.
Well, I think every society has these blends of people who are seeking face and seeking ego. But I think the basic structure of Thai thinking is actually be detached. And I suggest that foreigners swallow their immediate reaction and wait a little. And the longer they wait, the better it is. The better it will be for the relationship with their Thai friends, employees.
So what you're advising to the expat is that what you see may or may not be what is actually portrayed. You will have to wait and see. Be patient.
Yes, I think this is one of the society where you look at the picture, a photo, and there's another photo underneath. And then there's another photo underneath, and there's no end. So this is a society where there are many truths, not just one truth. And we in the West, we always think there's only one truth. But not here.
And which one makes you happier as a Western person living in Thailand?
Well, I certainly prefer to live here, I must say that, without being judgmental. I don't want to say that Germany is bad, no, but life here is much better. Food is better. And I love the Thai humor. It's incredible. The Thai humor is unbelievable.
It took a lot of years to understand the Thai humor, isn't it?
Well, it comes with learning the language, and it's very important to learn the language.
Learning the language in order to learn the humor, in order to understand the culture.
Right, that's very true. That's very true. But if and I'm just writing a little bit about my life, I don't know whether I will ever succeed. But so the great memories I have when I play golf on Sunday morning or Saturday morning, there's always Suat Mon in a temple close by. There's always lots of banter and laughing.
Yes.
Yes. And I told my grandchildren, you see, if I ever die, please cremate me and put the ashes into the klong. And the klong water goes to water the garden, and then the trees grow, and then I will look through the trees onto you and see, I hope that you will be good guys in future.
Oh, you're so high spirit. But you know what? There'll be so many more years ahead before that day comes, because you are very healthy right now.
Who knows?
Very active.
Life can change from one day to another. We all don't know.
You're right, you're right. And I talk to many people, and they are learning to live their life pretending that this might be the last day.
It's not a bad idea.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
What is your rationale for that?
Well, I think it's again detachment. I think I shouldn't put too much weight on myself. And of course, there are certain plays, games that one has to follow. As a boss in Thailand, you have to do certain things. But I suggest don't put too much weight on it. Know it, use it, but don't overuse it.
Yes. Well, you apparently work with your subordinate in a close way. Sometimes there are conflicts going on. I know that because you're an artist, you see, and your subordinates, your artists working for you are also artists. Artists have ego. Now, you probably are detaching from your ego, but I don't think these young generation artists are learning to detach their ego. How do you deal with them when they express some kind of negativeness with your advice?
Well, I must say, you know, the people I work with, they know me. They know me for a long time. So I don't have to speak too much. They understand what I want. And I try to praise them whenever I can, to give them self-confidence. That they are doing a good job, and they are doing a fantastic job.
Of course,
But
look at around you, around us.
Yeah, but there is always, of course, there are moments of not conflict, but where we are kind of rubbing each other. And we have to get through that, because there is no good result without little conflicts.
Yes.
Problem solving is basically conflict solving.
Yes, but conflicts leads to good solutions.
It can, yes, it can.
And the solutions that you have accomplished so far over 30 years have said a lot about how you manage your people as well as your creativity. It takes a lot from a man and his family to run through. What's going to happen to Lotus of the Reef 30 years from now? 30 years you build, 30 years your children take over.
I think we will not be significantly bigger, but we will maybe produce more expensive items, or we will move into fields that become less and less attractive for the West to produce. We move into fields where it becomes clearer, more obvious that these are handmade items. Well, those big brands that you have today, they're actually not working by hand anymore. This is all industrial production. And we're watching these brands very carefully, and we're trying to do exactly the opposite of what they are doing.
Yes, it's going against the mainstream, and that is very difficult because it's going to be very costly.
It is, yes.
Do you think there will be market for that? Do you think people 30 years from now will appreciate those tidies, take so much time pieces?
I think they will. I think there is a growing market, and it's very obvious, of customers who would like to order their own thing. They don't want to have the same like the neighbor. And a very big Japanese customer told me once, a lady, and said, look, my husband, and he's one of these big guys in Japan, say, my husband's secretary has already a Hermes handbag for $20,000. What should I wear? That was the question she asked me.
Wow, wow, wow. So all those branded goods may be worthless to the eyes of certain people.
Well, not worthless, but there is always a trend to be individual.
Yes.
You don't want to be like others.
Yes.
And I think when people become wealthy and independent, they strive for more individuality.
Yes.
And then we are here to help.
And being uniqueness is one cup of tea for you at Lotus Art de Vivre. Thank you so much for spending time with me in Critical Moment, Kun Rolf.
I thank you.
See, we've learned so much from this man. Critical moment is happening every day. The way that you can conquer is perhaps detaching. See you next time.